talk before this game about how many goals you could possibly score here at Turf Moor tonight, but was that an example of how hard, as you know, a title challenge can be?
For the way we played or for the goals that we didn't score?
The goals.
Yeah, but the chances were there. We create a lot, make a fantastic game. Yeah, we did everything after a demanding game 3 days ago. So it's yeah, it was demanding. It's always not easy, but we play a really good game where we miss some goals.
I can see you looking at some of the replays that are going on in the television screen in here. We could see your frustration though in the second half, early in the second half. Maybe was there a dip in performance from the levels? You talked about the demanding performance against Arsenal on Sunday. Did you feel?
No, it's no frustration. How should be frustration? We won 3 points. We are right now top of the league. Frustration no exists. So of course we can do better and score goals. But the guys did absolutely everything. We were playing in many things. We just don't score. So everything is difficult. Nothing is for granted. And we were there and we did it really well.
Was there a change though? Was it so demanding, the performance against Arsenal, that perhaps the levels weren't as strong as they were on Sunday, even though you got those 3 points?
I'm completely disagree.
Why do you disagree?
Because we make a better performance in terms of chances than last Sunday. Of course, the opponent from Arsenal is extraordinary, we know that. But the performance itself was really, really good.
And the mood, we can hear the music coming out of the away dressing room. You're top of the Premier League. How does that feeling now, going into the rest of the season? Is it still going to be as tight as it looks at the top of that table?
5 games, it's a Premier League for 5 games. So this is the reality. 5 games, and now we have a semi-final, really tough on Saturday. And now you have time and time to prepare the next games.
And that's just it, isn't it? It could be such a strong finish to this month for you, going into this final month of the Premier League season, and with an FA Cup final you could possibly be in as well.
Big opportunity to play, I think, 4 finals in a row, and we're going to play. We'll see how tired, maybe I have to make some changes, because otherwise have been, you know, a lot of minutes for players. At the end was a little bit tired, but yeah, we are ready.
I saw you celebrating in front of the supporters. I mean, they sang through every Manchester City song tonight out of the songbook, didn't they? They were incredible.
Yeah, it's 1 hour away from I would say from Manchester, so it's not. Thank you for the fans. Always our away fans always have been extraordinary. So no doubts about that. So the game was really well played, really well played in many things. Of course, we could have scored more, but it's we take it. So. We take it.
Just one last one on Rodri. I saw he was here, in and amongst the team as well, as you probably would expect him to be. What is the situation with him? How long are you expecting him to be out for?
I don't know yet. So we'll see. Day by day, we'll see.
Thoughts?
Obviously, he's going to, after the interview, he's going to say what he wants. But you can tell his frustration. We all got the pictures here that we can all see for ourselves. I think that's a masterclass in giving an interview, though, because we talked about Racina earlier on and maybe how he was in interviews.
I love Nathan Atko's face here thinking, oh, of all the seats you could have sat next to for this rant. You guys,
Mahmoud's just getting up.
He's not even been sat up to warm up.
He's going to have a warm up.
Nathan Atko's thinking, I'll just keep nodding, I'll keep agreeing until he moves on. Anyhow, go on, Mike. Sorry.
No, I think he's obviously we want more from him in the interview, and Julian Ferrington there was asking him really how we saw the game, his reaction. We saw his reaction there, but he didn't give you nothing. He said we played well. We all know by his standards he wanted 4, 5, or 6, but that wasn't the case. But he comes to the media and says no, we played great. We created chances, which he did do.
Yeah, but if he doesn't say that, we all jump, like we, as in the media, we all jump on it. We'd be having massive discussions about it now. It'd be followed up in the press.
Exactly.
We'd all jump on it. So he's got to play the straight back. 100%,
and that's why he's a master at it, and that's why he's been in manager so long, because he says one thing to the players and one thing to us, and he means it. He's passionate, and you can see him on the sideline, but ultimately, he doesn't want to give a line to us, and we've got to sort of analyse around it, haven't we?
He has to squash it. He has to. It's his job, and he does it so well. And I think when they were supposedly out of the title race a couple of months ago, he was still the same. And that's what I love about the way he's acting in this situation. He's the same. and he's emotional on the touchline, and we've just seen those pictures there. He was the same against Arsenal. He'll be the same on Saturday against Southampton in the FA Cup. It's just who he is.
But you've got that experience of being a coach. What are you like? Do you say one things to you, or are you emotional? Because these are all good things, and we talked about Liam Rossini beforehand, and I was a little bit critical of how he was in the media. But sometimes, if you look at that interview with Pep, that is a perfect way to just shut everything down. We played well, we move on, go to Southampton, semi-final, let's see what we can do there. How do you approach it?
I think you nailed it before, because you said you say one thing to the media, you say one thing to the players. And that's the best way to be, because what goes on in your house stays in your house, and the way you operate, the way that, some coaches you hear, you read things, you operate on the basis that nothing gets out, nothing gets in. And that way you don't let anything from the outside affect you. And some people would say things have affected Arsenal. And you spoke about the power of social media in a negative way at the start of the game around Liam Rossini. And it is a very toxic place to be. You do see things get taken way out of hand. Sure. And I think that's part of the manager's job these days, is to completely crush things that get circulated online, because it's all rubbish. But they have to put on, like you said, a straight bat. They have to be really professional, really clear, and really precise with what they say. Because ultimately they're the face of the club when they have to speak post game 2-3 times a week.
Only goal of the game. Gary said it in commentary, actually, Mike, that this was the kind of goal that Erling Haaland was scoring an awful lot when he was at Borussia Dortmund. Yeah,
well, he wants that space to run in, and it was actually a great goal. Not only was it a great finish by Haaland, but it's the approach play, the set-up play, the way Burnley tried to press, and now they've got that space. And the lovely little touch there from Doku, and then he wants to... And if we had that space in the Premier League every week, he will score 40, 50 goals in the Premier League, but he doesn't. And teams have to adapt to, that, because he's a machine once he's in flow, and the finish is just delightful.
It was back to front in 16 seconds and 6 passes, is it?
Yeah, and the irony in it is that Burnley, that was probably the only mistake Burnley made the whole game, was to jump and be high and give them the space. But they had the chances, and that was obviously the goal. But then these are the moments. This was earlier on. Again, Burnley still getting players in the box, but they managed to pick out Cherki in this situation. And we've put Cherki on a pedestal, and he should.
That's a great save.
It's an unbelievable save, but Cherki in the form he's in, that has to hit the back of the net.
That Cherki chance was when it was still 0-0. After that, City's chances in the main didn't really test Dubravka, did they?
No, I would say it's because of this. Look at the low block that Burnley are in, and Izzy's completely right earlier when she said it was a good performance from him. If Burnley would have played like this from the start of the season, they would have been a lot better, because on the transition it was very good. But look at the numbers they've got in the box. When they was jumping in, it was at the right time. It's going to take something special. People throwing, Dubravka was excellent, but it's almost like they turned up and they wanted it. They wanted it today, Burnley, and it was going to take something absolutely special for Man City to score a second. And Cherki was trying, Bernardo Silva was trying, here from Gonzalez, just wide of the post. And then the chances...
This is the best of the lot, wasn't it? This is O'Reilly late on. Just tries to be almost too casual, I think.
Yes.
He didn't want to be emotional in that moment. He just didn't catch it right. And again, Dubravka probably his easier save of the night.
They're the remaining fixtures, which we are going over ad nauseum at the moment. But let me, and as we leave that there, let me put this point to you. Somebody made this comparison to me with Rory McIlroy at the Masters a year ago, right? When he blew a lead, ended up in a playoff, and his caddy said to him as they went down the fairway to the tee to start the playoff, if you'd been offered this at the start of the week, you'd have taken it. If you'd said to Arsenal fans, with 5 games to go, you'd be level on points with Manchester City, level on goal difference with Manchester City, it's only on goals scored, would they have taken it?
100%.
Exactly. So that's the mindset.
And in a Champions League semi-final.
Yeah.
It's absolutely you would, but I think that, again, we come back to the hype and the situation, the expectation, but the reality of where Arsenal are at right now is outstanding.
So what it actually then boils down to is, can everybody connected reset their mindset to go, we'd have taken this?
I think everybody's taken a push of the reset button after these two sides went head-to-head on Sunday, because the emotion and the intensity building up to that game, for the outcome to have happened 2-1 Manchester City, I feel like now we're going into almost a mini-season where these two sides with these sets of fixtures, they're gonna be waiting for each other to slip up.
And people say Everton away and Bournemouth away could be City's two most difficult fixtures left. Before they go to Everton away, Arsenal have 2 Premier League games. They have Newcastle at home this weekend when City are in FA Cup action, and then Fulham at home before City play Everton. They could be 6 points clear again before City next play.
Yeah, and that could give them a boost. But if you look at the Champions League semi-final, you would expect Arsenal, with the form they showed this season, to beat Newcastle and to beat Fulham. It's what the Atletico Madrid game takes out of them, because I believe they can beat them. Have they got enough grit and determination to win all of those games? They've got the quality. And I feel as though when we talk about Arsenal, it's, they've bottled it. All this, against social media, they've not bottled it. It's just they open the door for Man City. It's still in their hands. They can do it. It's just what those games in the Champions League take out of them, because against Atletico Madrid and Simeone, they're going to grind them down. Yeah,
they are. And it's funny because we spoke about the game tonight, Manchester City. They didn't put in the performance, but they got the result.
Correct.
Arsenal at the weekend put in a performance, but didn't get the result.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by the twist of it. But if you're Arsenal, off the back of that City game, as soon as you get over the result and you put it to bed, and the fact that the way that they played, they've teed themselves up to finish the season strongly. I thought they were outstanding in terms of the performance. They hit the post twice. Yes, Manchester City hit the post as well, but they created chances against one of Europe's top sides, and I think that they can take great confidence from that. But obviously, the headlines will be that, you know, Arsenal are slipping up. Well, they're not. They're still right in it, and the league table tells you that.
So, would you expect them? I don't like asking you questions. I don't like asking you questions that could then be replayed over and over, making you look daft.
But you're still going to ask
it. Yes, I am, Iceland.
Of course you are.
Would you expect, even though what you said about the Champions League and everything, would you expect Arsenal to be 6 clear by the time City next play?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, you would.
I would. I would. Yeah, I would, because they've got... They lost in the League Cup final. Obviously, that was a blow. And the reason why I say that, because... And we was having a debate at the weekend with Roy, and he was saying, well, they lost, they put in a good performance, but they lost. But you can take something from a performance. They've been very good in the low block, and there was better pressing. Havertz is back, Gyökeres is back. They need to get Saka back. As soon as Moreno's a big miss for them, Timber's a big miss for them. But if you look at the game on the whole, Man City were wobbling for a little bit. Arsenal have big chances. It's just about taking... Football's all about moments, as we know. They need to take the moments when they get them. And if they do that, there'll be 6 points clear.
Congratulations, back on top of the Premier League with that win. How did you assess the performance? How does that feel?
After the tough game on Sunday, come here and we performed really, really well. So, we missed the chances and the amount of create and the last pass, last shoot, but in general it was a really good game. The ref can make a really good game.
I suppose normally it's all about getting the 3 points, but now we know that if City and Arsenal win all their games, it could come down to goal difference. Does that have to change a little bit, the way you approach games?
Is win the games. That is where we mistake. We're thinking about the goals. The way we play will dictate how many goals we score, how many goals we concede, and we play the way we play. We play to create the chances and to score goals, and another day we'll score.
How is it that year on year Manchester City seem to peak at this time of the season? You always seem to get to the top just at the right time.
No, I don't know. But we're here on top is because in November, December, January, February, we have done good things. Not perfectly like in the past, but still we are there. So we realized on Sunday against which opening we are facing, we are playing to win the Premier League. So it's just extraordinary in all the sense, and being there means that we have done really good things. Today we are in equal, so everything is equal. You know, the same goals difference, the same points, and 5 games for them, 5 games for us, and try to now focus in FA Cup against Southampton.
Which is incredible. I mean, how proud are you of this group? You almost rebuilt a team, and potentially you could win 3 trophies this season.
No start to talk about that. That is not about that. It's just what we do Southampton, then beat Fulham, beat Arsenal. So, and we have a lot of fatigue now, and we're going to see how many changes we do to have fresh and try to do it.
Well, he's pumped up, Erling Haaland. He's the match winner again. And it was all about winning. That is the clear message from
It is, but it still worries me with the goal difference, because if Arsenal go and maybe they've got to play Burnley, for example, still, and Burnley now relegated and score 5 or 6 goals, and goals scored will matter, so I'm surprised Erling had to nibble back a couple of times at the question, because I think it's a valid question. I said before the break, obviously, that goals tonight were important, and he is probably pumped up. There's no doubt about that, Steve. The pressure's on. They're in a really, they're in the kettle for such a big prize, of course there is. So there is that pressure, and I think he's probably getting to the point we've won the game, 3 points, we move on to the next game. But at the same time, when it's that tight, when we showed the table before, when it's so close, I think goals will make a big difference, and it could come to goals scored at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I said to you, maybe it was fatigue tonight, and I'm not saying that's an excuse for sometimes repeated answers, but I feel like they just got the job done and probably just want to go home and rest. And of course, we obviously want more answers, and we want more goals, and we want everything. And I think sometimes footballers, you just want to get the job done, and hook up by crook, you just move on. And maybe that's what he was kind of alluding to there. But it's great for us because there's still a really tight title race, and that's what we want.
But I wonder if there's any message at half-time from Pep Guardiola to say goals is really important. We have to get second, third and fourth goal. This is an opportunity tonight. I'm not saying it's wasted because they've got the 3 points, but it's an opportunity to get the goals and to sort of pull away from Arsenal, because they're so tight at the very top.
And when Haaland did score 5 minutes in, a lot of people thought, well, that's the floodgates that are going to work. We thought, as you say, they've just conceded 4 to Forest.
Well, we thought the same. It was brave from Burnley, or maybe some people say naive from Burnley, because they pressed them high up the pitch, and we know this Man City team can play through the thirds, play through the lines, and of course, if you're a centre-half, you're in a foot race against one of the quickest players and quickest strikers in the league, then you're going to come up second. There's no doubt about that. We look here, the high press. Estevez worried about Cherky, and Ekdal's on Haaland, but Ekdal never really gets close to Haaland at any point. They actually block him off, Steve, or get close enough to check his run. See there, he's still giving him 5 or 6 yards. Now he's got the run on him, and there's no catching Erling Haaland in this position. There's no doubt about that. And what I said at half-time, I think it's a brilliant finish, actually, because Dubravka's coming out closing the angle. He's getting chased down. If he hits that hard, I think it hits Dubravka. He just has clever, just has that little sort of lob wedge, or call it what you want, just dinks it past the goalkeeper, and we've seen it do numerous occasions in the past. It's a brilliant finish from Erling Haaland. But again, after 5 minutes, we're thinking that's the first of many tonight, to open the floodgates, but it wasn't to be.
It wasn't. One was enough. Let's get some Manchester City reaction. Matheus Nunes is going to speak to us live at Turf Moor. Matheus, good to see you. How good does that feel? Was there a little bit of relief at half-time? Full-time, sorry, with the 1-0?
It was difficult in the second half. I think especially we had a lot of chances we could have scored, and the result could have been different. We would be having a different conversation at the moment, but we're just delighted that we won. That's what we wanted here, the 3 points, and that's what we did.
At this stage of the season, and after all the effort on Sunday, is it all about just getting the job done?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if we win 5-0 or 1-0, we just want the 3 points.
Yeah, Matheus, after the weekend, maybe there was time tonight you mentioned about the chances and the opportunities that you probably didn't take. Is that down to how taxing and energising it was at the weekend that you're coming into today's game maybe a little bit fatigued, and the first touch and the final touch isn't quite there?
We are used to playing every 3 days the whole season. I don't think it's because of that. I just think we were not clinical today. Like you said, final pass, final shot. But still, we had a lot of chances. The goalkeeper made a few saves. So, we just have to get better next game and try to score most we can.
The message at half-time, Matheus, was from Pep, was it keep a clean sheet? You done your job as a defender, kept a clean sheet? Or was the message to go out and maybe get more goals? Or was Pep happy with the 3 points? Just that's the most important thing.
No, we went inside, and basically he gave us the tactics to find the spaces to create more opportunities. We don't play to keep the results. We play to score as many goals as we can. So he basically just gave us the details where we could find the spaces, where the spaces were, and we tried. Like I said, in the second half it was pretty clear that we found the spaces, but we didn't finish the chances. So yeah.
And Matheus, what's it like now to be involved in this title running? You've gone top on goals scored. You've got 5 games left each to play. It couldn't be tighter and more exciting.
We're just very happy to be in this position. to fight for the title, and hopefully in the end we were going to be happy.
And finally, you've got a title in the bag. That day you were on the bench, I think. You went right down to the final day against West Ham. Can you see this one going right to the wire as well?
I mean, let's see. We still have to win the semi-final, and then we see.
Well played tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, the message is perfectly clear.
Yeah.
What was interesting, they said, was just delighted to be in it. Because nobody was talking about this with City weeks and weeks ago.
And again, it's mad because he's a professional footballer and all he's focused now is the semi-final of the FA Cup. You know, that game's parked to one side, 3 points. We parked the Premier League to one side. You know, Pep's message after was probably right. We've got a big semi-final at the weekend. They prepare for this. Forget about the Premier League, albeit it's near impossible to forget about because the race is so tight at the top. But again, Matheus, he doesn't look that happy there in the interview, I think, but I think he's happy. 3 points, he's kept a clean sheet as a defender, and they roll on the next game.
Yeah.
There's a part of me I feel like they've just had a big tell-off. You know, because they're all saying we're delighted, and they're all like, you know, maybe Pep's been frustrated with them. Like I said, there was a lot of opportunities Burnley had and didn't take those chances. And if it wasn't Burnley with the greatest, not trying to be overly disrespectful, but if it was another team, maybe they might have found themselves out of the title race again. So I don't know, as much as they're delighted, they are because they've got the job done. But I wouldn't be surprised if they've had a bit of a telling off from Pep there tonight.
Because on another night, they could have put it to bed, couldn't they, in that second half with the opportunities. But it just appeared to be a night where it wouldn't go in the second.
Well, Matheus did say that was the message at half-time from Guardiola. He says they still create the spaces, they still create the chances. So I suppose there is a frustration from Pep and his team that they haven't put the chance. I think Cherky's pass was a bit heavy to Semenyo there, actually. He was stretching for it, and then invariably he was leaning back when Semenyo took the shot. Again, but as these chances keep going past, again, this is Haaland. We said, I think in comedy, the lad said in comedy, that's his left foot, it's a different story. He just drags it with his weaker right foot, but still hits the post and goes out. But these chances, they're decent chances, and the more times they miss them, you think, take Burnley one chance at the other end, and they've got an opportunity to drop 2 points, of course, but they just couldn't put them away, I don't think.
But that's why I asked him, you know, about fatigue. You might not be exhausted, but these chances, you know, on a fresher day, they'd absolutely be taking them. So I was trying to give him a reason, really, and he was like, we're not clinical, and I'm like, OK, fine, but, you know, we saw Cherky there. Was that a pass, a shot? You know, and then obviously it comes to the main man in form, O'Reilly, and he's saying, come on. And I was trying to be a bit kind because we've been there in games. You've played 2 or 3 games, played 2 or 3 days in between a game, but that was a different game on Sunday. There was so much more behind it. So I was thinking that maybe that was the reason why they just weren't sharp, but he seemed delighted though.
He certainly did. Let's see how his manager is feeling after that. A big puff of the cheeks at the end from Pep Guardiola. OK, we'll take it. I think that says it all. That's the message of the night, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think they're happy with any line of questioning tonight either on anything else. And I suppose that's the level he's at. He said it's a 5-game Premier League race now between the two teams. And I think he's happy with obviously the chances they created. Probably just disappointed in the cold light of day when the dust settles. They didn't take a few more of them chances. But, you know, Karen mentioned it's a busy week. Obviously, in a couple of days' time, they've got a semi-final against Southampton, who are one of the informed teams in the Championship as well, sitting in 4th in the Championship. So that'll be another tough game for them. There's no doubt about that. But what the advantage they do have, and I think Karen mentioned at the very start of the show, was they don't have Champions League football in a couple of weeks' time, where Arsenal do. So again, that could play back into Manchester City's hands. But I think he's really happy tonight with the 3 points, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, let's remind ourselves then of this 5-game Premier League with those FA Cup and Champions League fixtures slotted in. We should make the point now that actually Arsenal play twice in the Premier League before City play again, because that Everton game away in match week 35 is on the Monday night football. So Arsenal got a home to Newcastle and a home to Fulham, and in between that, a trip to Madrid in the first leg of the Champions League semi-final. So you're looking at all these little things now because the race is so close, Karen.
Yeah, but I still go back to exactly what Shay said there. The 2 Champions League games, you know, Arsenal haven't notoriously done well when they've played midweek Champions League, and it has affected them. And so that'll be really interesting how Mikel Arteta manages that. And obviously we talk about goal difference, and maybe we've been a bit critical of Man City tonight, but it was an interesting stat that Bukayo Saka, Havertz and Ødegaard haven't potentially played together for a long, long time. Maybe I think it seems a long, long time. So I don't know how they're going to get their goals either, Arsenal. But for a neutral, it's a great run into the title in the final few games of the season.
Experience. I mean, we know what Arsenal have done in the last few seasons. Listen to this. When Manchester City have been top of the Premier League, 33 games in or more, they've always won it on 4 different occasions. They've never thrown it away from here.
Well, again, the man on the left is the master, isn't he? And of course, the man on the right is his pupil, isn't he? Because he was assistant manager at Manchester City when they won it a few times as well. And he wants to be the master. Arteta wants to be the main man, doesn't he? But until he knocks Pep Guardiola off his throne, then he's going to have to take second place again, and that must really hurt the Arsenal, the fans, the players, and Arteta, of course, as well, because how many times can you keep coming back from finishing second in the league? They've built an unbelievable squad, and maybe they've just had a little bit of a sticky patch at the wrong time. As you mentioned, Karen, about goals, they're struggling to score lots of goals. The firepower is the goals have dropped off considerably. And to be fair, I'll give them some credit for the game at the weekend against Manchester City. I think they really had a go, because I think in previous seasons they went there and went for a draw and sat back. But I think City had a bit of luck on Sunday with, Eze hitting the post and Donnarumma making a brilliant save, and even that chance at the very death when Havertz had that header. If that goes in, you're talking about, Arsenal sitting at the top league. You mentioned small margins and how tight it is. And I said at the start of the show, I still think there'll be twists and turns. Even there tonight, the last minute, Dubravka's up, the keeper's up, a set play, anything can happen, a deflection ends up in the back of the net, you drop 2 points. There's 5 cup finals to come in the Premier League for both these teams.
One of our colleagues in the studio, Arsenal fan, was up as well,
yeah?
hoping that Burnley would get something. We're at that stage of the season, aren't we, where they're willing other teams to just do something to try and...
Are we going to out that person?
If you want.
No, I'm joking. Not telling any of us. But no, you are right. Everyone's depending on each other, aren't they, for those results? But yeah, it'd be really, really interesting. But I do think that Champions League fixture might be the downfall, maybe, of Arsenal, because it just, even like I kept saying about freshness in football is so important. And even though Pep didn't say that, he said I might have to change the team for the weekend in the FA Cup because of minutes. It really does matter. So when you're playing these massive games with so much on, the fans, the expectations at the business end of the season, I think Arsenal and those 2 Champions League games could cost them in the run-up to the title.
And a few people have said to me, and again, maybe they're clutching, for City fans, clutching at straws here, the fact it's in Spain and in Madrid, it's one that, Arteta would be determined to get through, rather than, I don't know, a German team or a French team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge tie, isn't it? Home and away. It's a fantastic tie to be involved in. Of course, semi-finals don't come around that often for any club, So, again, it's a huge car for these Arsenal players and for the manager to get to a final, of course. So, but again, you mentioned there before as well, Steve, they've got 2 games now, Arsenal. And again, it's an opportunity to go 6 points clear at the top of the league before Man City play another game. So again, going back about the psychological side of things, can they sway it in their favour? And of course, grab some goals in both them games to get the goal difference maybe closer as well and goals scored. So Arteta will be saying that. I think he'll be at home watching this game tonight relatively pleased it was only 1-0, because that keeps that gap really tight when it comes to goal difference. And looking the way these 2 teams are going, it could come down to that last game of the season.
Newcastle can't just keep losing and losing.
Yeah, they're having a tough time. Newcastle. I don't know. It's sort of scratching your head game. Obviously, the weekend they've got to go to Arsenal as well. Maybe that's not a bad thing, because the natives at St James's Park are a bit restless at the minute, So maybe away from home might help Newcastle a bit again. But it's a game Arsenal will look to obviously win, of course.
Obviously, Bournemouth at home was as well, and it got edgy and it got nervous and they couldn't get the results.
Yeah, I mean, all the teams are like needing results, for whether it's to appease the fans, whether it's to get their confidence back, get momentum back, whether something's riding on it. Everyone's playing for something. And, I think it will be a difficult game for Arsenal.
Interesting. OK. When we come back, we will look at the other side of the story, because Burnley have been...
A disappointing evening for Burnley Football Club. I'm an employee of Burnley Football Club, and I'll do my best for the shirt to make sure that we got a result. Unfortunately, now we are relegated, and we have to like I've just said in there, we have to play the remainder of the games, but we need to play the remainder of the games with that level of performance, because that's probably what we needed in that patch where we didn't pick up the victories that we needed or the points that we needed on the board, which made it an uphill battle for us come to this point now.
And that's the sweet part of the bittersweet, isn't it? The fact that performance tonight showed what you could have done and you this season.
Yeah, of course, but it's no point showing it on the last game when you need a result against Manchester City that are chasing the title. We needed to do it before, but that's no, discredit to the lads, because I've seen them train. I've been there training. I've run every blade of grass with them, and they have been, fantastic this season. Their attitude and everything. When we're getting knocked down and we keep getting knocked down, they keep getting up and they keep turning up and playing. Not always to our best of our ability, but we're doing what we can do. I think just sometimes in this league you need to take your chances when the chances come, and you need to defend the goal like your life depends on it, and we probably fell short on both of them areas come any part of the season.
And tonight, when Erling so early on put Manchester City ahead, but then after that you were creating those chances, weren't you? You had 2 or 3 really, really good chances, and also in the second half as well. Yeah,
and I feel that's the slight difference when you're talking about teams that are coming up to teams that are fighting for the league, that they get one chance to finish it, they get another chance, they might not finish it, but the next one they're going to finish it. And I feel if we would have put one of them away, it could have been a different game. But it's football, and you have to learn from these occasions. You have to learn from this experience of being in the Premier League, and hopefully now next season we come back to the drawing board and bounce straight back up.
And talking about next season, it's how you finish now this season, isn't it, to take into the new season. And just talking to the players, as I have done a lot this season, done tonight too, there is a real togetherness, there is a real spirit. There's absolutely no split whatsoever, is there?
No, definitely not. And like I've just said in there, what this club means to this town is incredible. You would not know. I drive through it every day, and you see a Burnley shirt whenever you're driving into training, and it means a lot to them. So, from us to them, thank you for every bit of support that you've made for us this season, and hopefully we can do you proud come next season and get straight back up into the big league, which I feel that this club should be.
And Scott Parker does have a reputation of getting clubs back into the Premier League, doesn't he?
Well, hopefully keep that reputation, because we're going to need it. We're going to need everyone. Not just the players and the staff. It's the fans. As you can tell from my voice, I'm very disappointed. It's a bit emotional because I came here with a dream to keep this club up. I've achieved a lot, personally in my life, in football, but this would have been right up there, as much as it wouldn't have been a title or anything like that, but it would have been something very special to keep this club up. But hopefully we can come back and do it again.
And what else have you said in that dressing room right now?
This is what can you say? What can you say? This is people's dreams that have, now come to an end in the Premier League, but they need to take this and bottle it up and use that fire to make sure that we're back here next season. That's the main objective now. We need to respect the Premier League and play the last number of games and do it like we did tonight, but also we need to bottle this emotion up that we've got with us, and come pre-season use that to make sure that we're back here come a year later.